Is it that button? Why is that always broken? Why is that always broken? Get off that screen. That one. Off. Hide. There we go. That one. Good evening. Apologies for being late. Life stuff. Community stuff. It's all getting in the way today. Hope you're all well. Let's get the zoom just a little bit more. Show my pretty face. Hopefully everything is working. Sorry about that. I had a phone call to take, which was a bit important, and they rang about 7:25. I had to see it through to its full fruition. So apologies for being late. I hope you are all well. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully there is sound. Yeah. Yes, there is sound. Right. Fantastic. Tinder problem. Funny. Has anybody got any experience with Tinder, by the way? Asking for a friend. God damn it. Right. Put that there. Right, where are we? Right. So, how do we do this again? I've completely forgotten. It's only been a fortnight and everything's completely out of the window. Right. What I need to do, I need to start Photoshop, otherwise we'll be here for hours. And then we'll, yeah. Right. Randomness. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well. Good evening, Stephanie, if you're still there. This is like if you're still watching, because we are 20 minutes late. Good evening, Simon. Good evening, Peter. Good evening, Paul. Good evening, Kathleen, if you're still there as well. Good evening, David. Good evening, Paul. Well, good morning, Paul, I should say. Good evening, Chris. Right, fantastic. And again, sorry for being late. It's been a mad day. I think I've been in the house for, well, apart from getting up this morning, I think I've been in the house for about half an hour all day. Still hanging on, Stephanie. Well, thank you for being dedicated enough to stay and wait for me. Yeah, right. Come on, Photoshop. Right, you've loaded. Fantastic. I can probably get rid of that now. Shut that down. So yeah, it's only a bloody fortnight. It's only a fortnight since I streamed, but it feels like ages because I've forgotten what to do. Right, update from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because 2 weeks ago was the 150th. I had a god awful day the day after, the next day, from the low stuff I've been for ages, and it wasn't just the hangover because that red wine went down very well. So what has happened since then? So yeah, I had a really bad week that week. Last week was a bit better. But I've resigned from the parish council, and as chair of the parish council, which has lifted a massive weight. So that's why I was on the phone just now, is because I was talking to my vice, and who is now the chair. So just trying to sort out a few last minute things. So yeah, that's lifted a load, and you might well have seen on Twitter or whatever. I have a little bit more time now, so I've been a little bit more creative and made a few more images than I have done for most of the bloody summer. So it's been a stressful couple of weeks, but things hopefully will be settling down, and I can get back into making images, making videos, content, and all that. Because like today was my last day as chair, so I am now stepping back from today. So I've got less to do, even though I've got a very, very busy week. So I've got less to do, so hopefully I'll get back to more content creation. Well, I think I've got Thursday free. After that, it's madness again. It was definitely a load off my shoulders, Peter, because it was really getting to me. I don't deal with people very well, and especially awkward people. So... well, there was other stuff going on as well, which was having a very negative effect as well. Such as being honest with you guys. So that if it hadn't been the 150th episode that week, had it been just a normal week, I would have not done it because I wasn't in a good place. So I was thankful so many of you came along and watched and brightened that evening, because I needed it. And I think I needed to drink that bottle of wine as well, even though how painful it was the next day. So I really thank you all for that. Thank you all for the support that evening, and your continued support as you come along to these things. It really is good, and I'm very much appreciative of that. So yeah, anything else that's going on since then? I have a new chair. Hopefully you can see that. I have a new chair, new comfy chair. Creaks a bit, mine already. Could do with the tightening up. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so with a few kind donations, meant I could invest in a new chair, so my arse is now comfy, which is a good thing. Although it is a tiny bit lower. I have noticed I am lower in the frame. Other than that, I must thank Paul Cook for his generous gift, which arrived via Amazon. I think it was on the Friday after the stream, because obviously in the stream we were chatting about drink and stuff, and you all give me suggestions on what whiskies to try, and then I don't know if you've seen me in me Instagram and stuff this week, and then this turns up. So I bought the first time I opened this, I was like, oh my god, this is awful, and it absolutely stank. So I don't know what it is, but I am now used to it, and you maybe see the level of it. So this has been consumed to this level over the last, actually since about Friday. I think that's when I finally opened it. So I've got the taste of it already, which is not a good sign. But yeah, it's been lovely to have just a sneaky glass every night just before, just to end the day or do a little bit of chilled editing. It's been wonderful. So if anybody else wants to send me bottles of whiskey, then you are more than welcome. My address is everywhere on the internet. You can find me address if you want to do it. So thank you so much to Paul Cook for sending. That was very, very generous, and did make me giggle and made me realize how awesome you lot are. I really, really appreciate it. So that's going to be a lot of fun, working my way through some whiskies. So I think there might well be a joined up photography and whiskey thing. I think somebody said there was another, was it Nick Carver does whiskies and photography or something like that? I might, if you can buy drink and then offset it against your tax, that sounds like a great idea. So I might do something like that. But yeah, lovely. So yes, I've gone from, Friday I was not a whiskey drinker in the slightest, to 2 days later I am very much enjoying a snifter or two. So, thank you, Alan. Yes, I prefer a Happy Andy as well. I don't like. I do not like the person I was the other Wednesday. Good evening as well, sir. Pixels and booze. That sounds a good one. So yes, if anybody if anybody wants to send, just a little a miniature or whatever, it would be very awesome. We will feature it, give it a taste, and all that kind of stuff. Just a laugh, isn't it? Just a laugh. So yes, with a bit of luck, content will be more forthcoming now that my load has been lifted, or a load has been lifted from my life. Hopefully nothing else steps into that hole, and I can actually do work, because work makes money. Volunteering doesn't make money, so you've got to do it. Good afternoon, Ozzy. Good to see you. You were not late. I was late. So do not worry, my friend. Right. What's on tonight? Is there anything else I need to mention? There will be a short video coming soon. Have I got time on Thursday to do that? Maybe. depending on how long it takes. I've got into TikTok a bit. So I've been watching a lot of TikTok. But I'm gonna put on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok, and it's another how I make my photos, which you might have seen on one of the other platforms. So I did me taking photographs. I videoed myself taking photographs the other day, and then I've got the edit recorded, and then the final image. So there'll be another one of them coming up soon, just to fill in the gap while I try to plan something a little bit longer form content, because we do need to get back into making videos, because otherwise it's going to be a long winter with nothing out there. Because at the minute, the leaves on the trees and stuff at the minute, fantastic. We've had sunrises and sunsets that have been brilliant for about a week now, and I haven't been out to photograph any of them. So guaranteed by the weekend the weather will have turned and it'll be back to crap. But yeah, I'm just ready to get back into doing some photography. So it will be nice to be able to actually do that now that I have a bit more extra time and a bit more of an optimistic outlook on life. So, right, so tonight I was thinking, we should really rush through because it's already 8 o'clock. I was thinking tonight I'm going to, if you've been on me Twitter yesterday, was it yesterday? There was an image on there, waves, castle, sky, brightness, very light image. What I was thinking of doing is, because when I made it, I could have gone like a light version or a dark version, and I went for the light version. So what I was thinking of doing is making the dark version. So it goes back into making that, using the same images, but instead of using the light and blend mode, go in and make the make the image with the multiply or dark and blend mode. So I think that's what we are going to do. Oh, have you been over there, David? Ooh. I must admit, I've been thinking about, I should really have a day out. But then again, days are about 6 hours long now, aren't they? The weather's not been great. Good evening, Alien. How are you? Hope you're well. Well done on you 33rd place in the rally. Well done. Well done. I did see that. So let me get Lightroom opened and find out where these images are that I used. Actually, I can probably just, if we just open up the existing edit in Photoshop, and I will switch to my screen in a moment, by the way. I'm not edit original. I'll just let this load and then I'll switch screens. Oh, you're there till Friday. I hope the weather picks up then, David. Fantastic, Alien. Well done. I did see your post saying you were very pleased with that, so I thought, well done, well done, well done. Hopefully conditions were good, because I know it's been a rough, blustery weekend and wet and all that. Right, come on. Did I say it to everybody? Good evening, Beatrice, if you're there, by the way. I've completely. And good evening, Diane. Why did? Oh no, because I stopped saying good evening there. Yeah, good evening, Diane. Good evening, Beatrice. Does anybody else? Nothing. I got everybody after that. Apologies for missing out. Do like to say hello to everybody. Part of the setup. Well, it's part of the dangers of watching these extreme sports that you do. Right, let's switch screens. Let's do that, and let's switch the camera back on. There we go. Right, so this is the light version, which I did and posted on Twitter yesterday. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come on, if Photoshop will catch up. Let's nullify these. Let's get rid of all these layers. And get back to the bare bones. So thinking just back to these 5 images. Let's activate that one again. And obviously I've made this one using the light and blend mode. And I've done all this stuff in Lightroom, all the cleanup and all that kind of stuff, and a bit of colorization. But when I was going through the blend modes, I was more attracted to the lighter version, so hence why this is, excuse me, much lighter. But I also looked at the multiply when it was using the multiply blend mode, and that looked quite nice as well, you know, quite useful. So I think that's what we're going to do. Obviously, we've got some alignment to sort out here, which has changed from when you can align them using the light and blend mode. So you've got the dark and light and multiply. So you've also got overlay and soft light, but that's going to be more washed out. So yeah. So we'll go with multiply, and then we'll kind of configure these out. So what we want to do is, I think some of these might be actually reduced opacity. Are they? No, they're not. Right. Anyways, so if I take that one out, is that one? No, that's. So yeah, I do need to realign these into. If I go back to the starting point, that one's very, very high up in the frame, so that one's going to have to be moved. So if we just kind of decide on maybe this one is the best position. And then we can start layering this up. Let's see, this one is bang on the same spot, or near enough. I'll layer this one in, and we'll just rearrange, not rearranged, align it so, you know, the darker areas kind of match, roughly. You don't want to be too precise, obviously. You just want it to be a rough approximation. And then this one, obviously we're going to have to do some not aligning, but cleaning up of the edges, so don't worry about all these boxes. Yeah, it's worth calling in, even you know, no matter how briefly. Let's bring this one down and see how this one lines up. There we are. You don't, like I say, you don't want it too precise. You want it a bit soft around the edges, maybe. And then we'll kind of sort out. I mean, this one might end up being quite light, like the last one, because we've had to move so much of the image around. So let's see. Right. So, all right, we want and take the edge of that one out. So we were going to do some masking. So just the gradient fill thing. Come on, computer. Let's go up to there. Just soften that out, and we can kind of bring this over here and soften that out. Just let that naturally take over. And then there's this one, which is that layer. Yeah. Now this layer's got some of these nice streaks coming in, but it kind of doesn't quite join in with these streaks on this back layer. So just be mindful of that. So you got to be quite subtle with it. Let's undo that. Let's start from higher up. So yeah, it takes just a bit of playing around. Let's actually take that one away so we can kind of see what we're doing. Go across to that. Right, okay. Let's bring this one back in. So this one's going to be probably quite tricky to balance. Actually, I don't think it's going to end up being that darker than the one before, even though we're using the multiply blend mode to get the image started. So we want a mask on that. Might be a case of we have to be quite quite brave with this and not worry about the castle too much. You know, by taking out quite a chunk of that layer, maybe even more out of the foreground. So kind of lightening that up, so your mask ends up being quite small. So only just that little, you know, out of that layer, there's only really that sliver across there. If you take that out, you can kind of see. And to be honest, there's not a lot left in that does any good, because you've got that nicer white of the rolling waves. So even if you take, you know, if you take that layer out and you've got light hitting the castle there, I think it's maybe a bit more effective just not having this layer on at all. So I think we will actually leave that layer off. So even though we've done all that work, we'll just leave that off. Let's just have a little bit an address of these, making sure things are, you're getting the, you know, the best out of, you know, the focal point. You can see some of the highlights on the castle there. There's the, you know, the walls are lit up. Now I did want to keep it darker, so there is the contrast between the first version as well. So, and yeah, you need that layer in for that detail. So yeah, right, okay. So there you can see a bit of an edge on there where that break has kind of come in. So it's like this layer. You maybe sweeten that out a little bit more, maybe manually. So if we are paint or erasing, I should say, use the eraser tool wherever it is. There it is. And it is on 28%, so that should be quite soft, and just paint out some of that line which was kind of visible, but not, if you know what I mean. And then this area behind the castle. Have you caught up yet, Photoshop? You have now, right? It's very slow. Just kind of paint that out, just that duller little section, and hopefully that kind of works. A little bit more. Right, so you've all gone quiet. You've all gone quiet. Right, so I will now get curves adjustment. I want to darken the top of the sky down a little bit. Just drag that down to about there. I just want to retain some more of this detail up here. So, but we don't want it to affect the base, so we want the gradient filter again, and we want to come just, you know, quite a deep change. So maybe just do that again, dull it up, and then that should leave the foreground a little bit lighter. So all it's done is just affecting the top of the sky there. Right, so that's kind of where we're at. Do I want to do any color adjustments? So a little play. But I'm in my blue phase, Peter. Somebody actually messages us about that. It's like, because I've done some blue ones. You're in your blue phase, Andy. Which I might be. Or I might just be conning you all. Red might be coming. Right, so I mean, we could do something like, you know, adding this in is really, you know, it's called the whites. You know, added a little bit of red into the whites of the waves there. It's still got it's a weirder blue though. So maybe it needs to just affect certain areas. Might go back to something -17. So maybe if I click on that, it says yellows. So if it just affects the yellows to, you know, that, the blue will stay. So if I undo that, it's only affecting this area, and again, maybe gives you the more impression of us as the sun is lowering, even though this was taken like 2 in the afternoon. The sun is lowering by 2 in the afternoon now. It's getting pretty bloody dark. I'm not going to cut my ear off, Ozzy. I don't like pain. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, so there's a little bit of pinky stuff arrived in there. Maybe not quite enough. I'm making the mistake of looking at my other screen, which I know the color balance thing hasn't been activated on that for some reason today. Windows Windows misbehaving. So what I should be doing is just concentrating on the main screen, not looking across there to what the video is being pumped out at. Right, so we got a little bit of red in there. Maybe it's a little bit too much. Come back, ship. Come back. We can maybe even do another curves layer. And just add in a little bit of an S curve. This computer's getting very, very, very laggy for working on. And also, I must apologise for the same subject every bloody week. I haven't been very far. And this is fresh data from the weekend. But yeah, at the minute, I'm just not. The only time I'm getting out is when I take mother out for a drive at the weekend. And it's always to the same bloody place. So this is the only app, the last however many months, this is the only place I've managed to actually photograph. So I apologise for it always being Bamburgh Castle. Recently. Or to me, it feels like that's all I've ever done. So, right. There's a bit of balance. Okay. So we have a starting point. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the light version into a folder, and then I'm going to hide that. That's out of the way, and then it gives us a bit more screen real estate. Yeah, right. So Analog FX Pro, and we'll see what the presets kind of spit out at us. And in the meantime, let's have a little snifter of this. A little bit of Lafroig, or however it's pronounced. That was a big one. I'm not used to big measures yet. Just barely covering the bottom of the glass is enough for me at the minute. I should, David. I don't like left to right images though. For some reason, I like my images from on the right, like subject on the right, and I think it's easier to work around. So I've always struggled with the lighthouse that's behind me. Yeah, but you do yours so well, Alan. And it's just along the road from you, so you've got an excuse. I've got to drive 20 miles to get there. Well, 12 mile there and back. So I'm just kind of hoping we sunrises and sunsets carry on for a bit longer yet, because they have been phenomenal. I mean, the sunset tonight was amazing. It was just unfortunately in the supermarket. Missed that opportunity. But then again, when it's been a good sunset, I've been out with a dog rather than out with a camera. Yeah. Woe is me. Anyways, cheers. Right then, so we are aiming for a darker version to contrast the initial one. But maybe something like this one is a bit too dark. very funny, Peter. I was in the supermarket whilst the sky was pink. It was a beauty of the night. Oh, did Alan get the back cover of the landscape photography book? It was a lovely picture. This computer is definitely getting slower. How long is this taking to render? Oh my word. Right. We're going to have to do something about this computer soon. I'm going to need to take out a loan and buy a new one. Because this is getting to the point of unworkable streaming. So I might have to take a break from streaming if I don't get a computer soon. Because that's ridiculous. That was like 20, 30 seconds just to display the render of it. So adjustments might be minimal on this one. Actually, when I was recording me making the light version of this for the TikTok or short or whatever, it took, at one point when it loaded into the 5 frames loading into Photoshop, it was 20 minutes. It was getting on for 20 minutes, that section of the video. Aye. Not good. Well done, Alan. Getting that. Fantastic. Right, so... yeah, I do want it a little bit dark. I don't know if I want it to be so good. This is going to take forever. This is maybe a little bit too light. I ended up with 2 light images for this subject, and I was trying to make a darker one. Not ideal. You know, like this one's too dark. This really is so slow. I don't know if they've changed something, or the computer's not as good, or some kind of updates gone awry. Oh, well, right, back to this one, and then we'll I think we'll just configure this one quite quickly and get out. So let's see what each one... every time I switch it off, it's going to take an age to render it, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to have to do something about this computer, because this is ridiculous. Right. You can't even turn it on and turn it off again, just to make it a little bit... to see what the bloody software is doing. Right, double exposure. I think I'm going to have to roughly move this down and across. Move that to about there. And fingers crossed it'll be not bad. I think that's what it is, Paul. It's not the church, it's the parish council. It's not the parochial council. But yeah, I wouldn't... I think so, Chris. I think so. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do something again about this, because it's just ridiculous. Right, so it could be a very straightforward edit. So hopefully it's not affecting the viewing experience too much. Alright, let's move that back to there. Lens vignette. Just want to try to close down the sky a bit to kind of darken it off. Alright, let's bring this down further. If I bring this across. So again, the kind of the lights from the right, as is most of them, most of the images I make. It's a bit too much. It's very light and very dark, isn't it? Maybe that needs to come across a little bit more. I'm going to reduce that a bit as well. So slow, so slow. It might be also that the hard drive's getting filled up, which isn't ideal. So it's got less. Well, then again, that's probably since Photoshop upgraded last week. That's maybe affected it as well. Keep on adding new shit to it, don't they? I know I've sworn on YouTube. Oh no. Demonetized. Alright. I think we will leave it something like that. And I'll just have to deal with this bright foreground. Let's see what the levels and curves are. I'm not going to dick around playing with that. I'm going to leave it as it is. Thank you, Simon. That's very kind of you.